it's Natasha.
And Khalil.
And we are the co-hosts of
WokeNFree.
Thank you for tuning into our 23rd episode of WokeNFree. If you've been tuning in every week for WokeNFree Wednesdays, you know that our show is all about being real and honest with each other and you. And we talk about everything and anything that is important to us, to you, and the world, and nothing is off the table. In this episode, we are talking all about how you know when you can trust somebody. And before we get there, you know the drill. We have some ground rules to cover. First and foremost, have you subscribed to WokeNFree on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, our YouTube channel, SoundCloud, or iHeartRadio? If not, please hold the presses, go and subscribe to WokeNFree. We greatly appreciate your love and support. Secondly, share this episode. We are not a dirty little secret. Come on now, sharing is caring. Share the episode with a friend, with a family member, on Facebook, on Instagram, Twitter. We love the love. And then lastly, I mentioned the social. Have you chatted with us? Have you reached out? Holler at us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at WokeNFree.
Each week, we like to share a little bit about us before we dive into the topic for the episode. Last week, we shared 3 things we do that make us successful. This week, I think we should share one thing we did as a child that we no longer do as an adult.
That is a very peculiar request, Khalil.
It's got you stumped, has it, dearie?
It makes me want to say something that's not PG-13 is how I will phrase it.
Oh, come on now.
Exactly. So to avoid the people having to grab for a Bible, I will say my share would be when I was a child, I could read without glasses. Now I need to read with glasses.
Oh, how exciting. That's a really great one.
I told you my first response is something that's not allowed on air.
Okay.
Yep.
So I guess we'll just go with your response you came up with there. That's just terrible.
It's a terrible question.
No, it isn't. Because look, mine is pretty good.
Okay.
Well, as a child, I used to want to wake up early, really early on Saturdays just to watch the latest cartoons. The latest episodes would be on, and me and my brother would be very excited to watch this. Woo-hoo. So now, I don't know, it's a lot different. I don't really care for Saturdays and getting up. Now I just get up later, and I don't look forward to, any shows really. So that's a big change. I used to look forward to these cartoons, but I don't know, just started to not care as much or something.
That just sounds like you wake up depressed. So I'm not quite sure how your answer's in any way more exciting than mine.
It definitely is. At least mine had to do with something nice.
Reading is critical for life.
Yeah, but you're talking about like a physical change. Now having to need glasses. It's like a medical thing. I mean, that's
I told
like
you,
different.
My answer is
Mine's not medical
PG-13.
in nature. Yeah, mine is not medical in nature. Mine is just a change of heart. Because I still watch cartoons. Well, I watch anime, I would say. But I don't watch cartoons anymore, really. Yeah,
Riveting.
Yeah. See?
Moving on.
Change from child to adulthood.
Si, senor. So, for today's topic, we are talking...
You trying to move on that quick?
You
needed to let that brew a little bit.
No, thank you. Hombre.
Hombre. It's hombre. The H is silent.
Oh, lo siento. For today's topic, we are talking about trustworthiness, right? So first and foremost, what makes a person trustworthy?
I think it's hard to pin down. Usually, it comes down to the action somebody takes. I guess that lets you know if they're trustworthy. This person, they'll share things with you that they never share with anyone else. If they trust you, then it's reasonable to assume they can be trusted. This alone is not enough, of course, but you would like to see that they are kind of calm at times, I guess. If you see them that they're very calm and kind of friendly, maybe they can be trustworthy. I guess those are kind of some of the characteristics you would look for.
Okay. According to success.com, there are 9 common trustworthy traits. Let's get into them. They are authentic, consistent, they have integrity, they're compassionate, they are kind, they are resourceful, they are connectors, they are humble, and they are available. Agree or disagree?
Speaking of humble, I gotta buy the Humble Indie Bundle.
I'm not even sure what you're referring to.
The Humble Indie Bundle. I don't know if I keep saying Bumble. Because it rhymes, I guess. You never heard of that? The Humble Indie Bundle?
No, I do not know what you're speaking of. Can you educate somebody?
It has nothing to do with this, but it just reminds me I gotta put in a reminder to buy the set they give out. So how it works is every month they give out like a set of I guess video games, and the money goes towards a charity. But what's kind of cool about it is you decide how much money you want to give to buy that set of games. So like let's say they usually have a minimum. They might say for $5 you get like 10 of these games, but if you donate more you might get a bonus game. If you donate 20 you get an extra game. But then all that money goes towards like a charity. It could go to like the Wildlife Society.
Cost of the game and the donation extra above?
Your donation, yeah, your donation actually goes right to that charity. It's like
cool.
the game developers are giving away money basically.
Oh, that's awesome.
They give away their money towards whatever charity for the month. So Rockstar is doing one. They're not really an independent developer, but they have some nice games in there. So I'll probably donate, and you can donate above too. You can donate whatever you want.
Gotcha.
So you can donate up and above whatever the minimum is.
Okay.
And all that money goes, like I said, to the charity. So it's a nice thing.
So Looney Tunes, how does that have anything to do with the list?
If a person buys you a Humble Indie Bundle, then they're probably trustworthy.
No.
They like to donate to
See
these
what kind
charities.
of day this is.
You can get it railroaded.
Oh my gosh. Okay, moving on.
What are untrustworthy traits?
Okay, so we're moving on from what's trustworthy to untrustworthy.
Yeah.
Well, according to Inc.com, and of course, all of our sources can be found on WokeNFree.com. The 5 common traits to be on the lookout for would be 1, they lie to themselves. No, too many people who fit that category. 2, they project behaviors on you that are clearly not ones that you are exhibiting. They breach confidentiality. Yep. They show a lack of empathy. That's a shameful trait. And their emotional state is volatile, and they have a pattern of inconsistency and fickleness in their decisions.
Wow.
Agree or disagree?
Yeah, I definitely agree on all those. Especially if the person if their emotional state jumps up and down and back and forth, that definitely is not somebody you want to trust, because they could just flip on they could flip really quick. Yeah. So that's not something you want to. That's not somebody you'd want to trust with secrets or anything, or trust them to even go buy you some milk for your cereal. Like, don't do it. You're gonna have beer instead. You're gonna have Beerios.
Oh my gosh. Anything to add to that list, sir?
For untrustworthy traits, I guess another thing that you didn't bring up was somebody who like overpromises and underdelivers. To me,
ooh, nice.
Yeah, that's one. Talking a big talk and continually not to fulfill like what they said they would do. I think that's a hint of someone who's untrustworthy.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Why do you think we trust untrustworthy people, like people who are talking a big talk and sadly not delivering, or they're emotionally not quite where they need to be? What's going on there?
I feel it's kind of like when people fall for the scams. You're wooed by the thoughts of how somebody can help you. So untrustworthy people, they say things we want to hear instead of the actual truth. According to the Conversation article, Why Do We Fall for Scams? They encourage people to use mental shortcuts to bypass thinking when making decisions. They play off our emotions. They give or offer favors. Okay.
Interesting. So it's kind of a psychological deficiency on the person hearing the scam or the... Yeah, interesting.
And they play off of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of things. So what I found was interesting from shout out to Psychology Today. Love you all. You all have wonderful resources for people. They define trust as the foundation of all human connections, from chance encounters to friendships and intimate relationships. It governs all the interactions we have with each other, and no one would drive a car or walk down a sidewalk or board a train or an airplane if we didn't trust that other people were taking their responsibilities seriously and would obey whatever rules apply to the endeavor at hand. And if you really think about that, I think that that's really what it comes down to, because if you had to question every single thing you did when you woke up, so for instance, let's, picture it, guys. We're waking up. Is this bed really going to hold me? Do I have to get off and get on the floor? But is the floor really going to hold me up? Like, I mean, everything. It would be if you didn't have a certain, if you didn't have a certain level of trust, then the world would be like a nightmare.
I mean, there's levels to trust, of course. You have to have at least like a bare minimum of trust. Way.
Like if I wake up and I turn and I see you, am I going to be like, oh, is this really Khalil? Should I punch you? Like,
I
what?
Could be in a disguise.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, how do I know you're not pretending to be, Becky? Like, how? I mean, at what point are you going to accept your reality and trust your reality? If you get
on the bus, is that really a bus driver, or is it just some lunatic who's going to drive you off a cliff?
And are we just like walking around like completely petrified?
And getting an airplane's the same thing.
Yeah, here we go.
You hope that it's an actual pilot.
Exactly, and not trust the Joker, like having fun for the day. Like,
yeah, you never know. Yeah.
So I think that otherwise our lives would be so unbearably uncomfortable that we've just decided that there's a baseline of trust. And then upon that, because we already are walking on premise of we can trust, then it becomes easier to trust the people who are not really trustworthy.
And then that's how you have those shows like, what was it called where they played these pranks on you?
Oh, yes.
What's his name?
Oh, yes.
Butterfly Effect.
Ashton
Kutcher?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What was that? What did he call?
You got
played? I don't remember the name of it now.
But yeah.
But it's like that where they play these jokes on people, and it's kind of like you're playing on people's trust levels, because they'll be like, you're going to this concert, you won these tickets, but actually no, you're just walking into like a pile of poo.
Mm-hmm. Or the Hot 97 Ride or Die, right? Up. Where people call each other
and they make
and they're like,
stories,
I just got into a fight, I'm gonna get locked up. Okay, I'm coming.
It's called Punked.
Punked. Yeah, exactly.
Punked, yeah.
Exactly. So I think it's easy. We're already in the mindset of I want to trust, so it's
we want
not
to trust when we can.
Hard to
it makes it easier,
that.
Right?
Yeah. How do you deal with untrustworthy people?
You have to come to terms with yourself if you really need this person in your life, or can they just be removed from it? If this is someone you want to rely on, just realize that since they can't be trusted, you can't really give them responsibility unless you're okay with that task not being done. So don't ask an untrustworthy person to cash your check or something. It wouldn't make sense unless you don't care about them taking the money.
True, exactly. According to Forbes, again, the article is found on WokeNFree.com, they say that there are 4 steps that you need to take. First, you have to understand the impact this is having on you, right? So if it's a matter of I gave money to this person and they said they were going to deposit it and now they didn't deposit it and you're short for rent, like what's the totality of the decision that you've made with this person? How are you going to confront the behavior? Are you going to confront the person? Or do you need to report this behavior to someone else? Are there other people now involved? You need to take action to address the impact, right? And so you kind of deal with the fires that you have to put out because of this untrustworthy person. And then you have to figure out how you're going to move forward. So what were the lessons learned? Is this person going to remain to be someone in your life despite their behaviors? And also reflecting on what you could have done differently, not victim blaming, but just what was the judgment that you were making that led to the ultimate decision? I think that's important.
Yeah. How has untrustworthy people affected you in your life?
Here we go. We're going to drop some shade. No, I'm kidding.
I hope not.
No. It's a positive show, guys. Come on.
Yeah, we're about being woke, right?
You bet. And free, you know it. So I would say it comes down to a couple of primary categories. First, I married you, right? So someone that I could actually trust, someone that I didn't have to worry that if you said you're going to work, that I have to go and look at my phone and track where you are, because yes, I can do that, as you can do the same for me. And see that you're not in X town, right?
Nice.
I wanted to have a relationship where I knew that your word was your word. Now, obviously you don't say everything and there are surprises in life, but at the end of the day, I think there's a baseline of trust that is much superior than anyone else that I know. So that was, that happened because I was surrounded by liars. So it motivated me to say, I must run towards the truth and embrace it like my BFF.
Nice.
Yep.
It's actually a good thing.
Secondly, the circle of liars that I grew up knowing and seeing and behaving in my life motivated me to make sure that the select friends and people in my network that I would deem a network of support was going to be a tight circle of people that I deem trustworthy. Now, again, you don't know every single thought in someone's head, but what I do know is that the people I purposely and strategically surround myself with are intentionally really kind of trying to live a life that is all about what they want and making sure that they are being a great contributor to their family, to their community, etc. And so that was something that motivated me. And then lastly, just making sure that I'm focused on my time and what I want to do. And so I don't have to spend time with people that are not trustworthy, or that I have to question, when you say X, do you really say Y? I'm not interested in those types of storytelling games. Some people think it's fun. I can just watch Young and Restless. Shout out to Young and Restless.
All right, that's fair enough. It's caused me to be more discerning towards new people I meet. When I was younger, I would trust what people said at face value. Mm-hmm. Now, not so much. I think more about what is said and why it's said. So, I'm a little bit more...
guarded, I guess?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I couldn't tell.
You couldn't? You could not?
No, dearest.
Yes.
You seemed
like... Hidden secret.
Yes, you seem like an open book.
Yep.
Excellent.
Definitely. I'm an open book for you.
Yep. I see what you want. Mm-hmm. There we go.
Oh, Munster cheese.
Word.
Nice.
So can you really forgive untrustworthy people when they kind of wrong you?
The best answer lies with something I read on the internet. A WikiHow article, to be exact, called How to Forgive Someone Who Lied to You. It gives 12 steps for people to try. Reflect on whether it was a true lie. Does the other person acknowledge he or she lied? Is the other person willing to talk about it? Why the lie? Is the other person sorry? Is he or she willing to make amends? Hey, everybody lies. Forgiving means moving on. Take a leap of faith and trust again. Do not confuse forgiveness for trust. Forgiving without a person apologizing. Reflect on whether you are too quick to forgive or too slow to let go of a grudge.
Interesting. I loved how your energy really decreased.
Yeah, I was starting not to go along with some of the steps they want you to try at the end. So it was kind of just like, But I do like how I liked some of the beginning steps. I think they kind of were things to think about.
Interesting. So my answers, as per usual, you all know how I do, is quite full itself. So I would say before I became a Jedi, I'm joking.
You are not a Jedi. I am the true Jedi.
I am your father.
True that.
No, rather, like George Washington said, I cannot tell a lie, right? I think that forgiveness is something that is not something that comes particularly easy for me. I definitely have to work on that continuously, because growing up, I had found that when someone had wronged you, to me, it just seemed to say, well, the person kind of showed their true colors with you. And so if they've done you wrong, what's to prevent them from doing more wrong against you? But, people aren't perfect. So you have to kind of think through every circumstance, every situation, who the person is, and really make the appropriate judgment calls. I would say...
forgiving's not forgetting.
Exactly. There's a difference. And so you have to really think about, is this someone, stole a piece of Munster cheese from you, or did the person, steal your man? Did they, get the job that
Who's
you
stealing
were...
a man? Come on now. That people are pretty heavy. How you gonna walk off and take somebody with you? I think you'll notice that.
I think you're ready for your stand-up right now. Yeah.
No, I don't understand how you can do what you're saying.
Kevin Hart, watch out, man.
Nobody. No. Come on now.
I think Dave Chappelle would have liked that one.
Maybe.
So it's a concept it's struggling. It's hard for me. I would say, yeah. Ultimately, the line, to forgive but not forget is something that probably lays true with me. And I think that for every relationship, you have to make a decision and figure it out. But I am a Virgo at the end of the day, and Virgos are kind of harsh when it comes to judgment and deciding whether or not we keep you or X you out. And for those who know me,
very
they know how I do. So I'll just say that was a lot, and the answer was muddled in the minutia of everything that was said.
That was a mouthful.
Word.
Here we go. It's scenario time. Scenario 1. Your cousin Gregory always asks to borrow small change when you all are out and about. Or pick up part of the tab when he can't cover his part of the bill. You've never directly asked for Gregory to pay you back because you know his family is not as well off as you are. You two like to buy scratch-offs at your local bodega from time to time, but this time, Gregory wins a couple of thousands of dollars. Wow. You jokingly ask how he will treat his favorite cousin with the money earned, but he gets serious and storms away from you like he was offended. Should you start spending less time with Gregory after this occurrence?
Seriously? Seriously, Khalil? Oh my gosh.
Oh, you think his name should have been Greg? Because Gregory's kind of too formal.
No comment on the name nomenclature of this scenario. Lord have mercy. I still have some questions.
You have questions?
I have questions for your questions.
This seems like a simple answer.
No, is Gregory's family still not doing well?
Of course they're not. Why would they be doing well?
And would they? Okay, my follow-up question is: do they expect these thousands that Gregory has now won to kind of infiltrate its way into his family?
I don't think Gregory's going to tell them about it, to be honest.
Oh, he's going to hustle them. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, he's been hustling you out of money every chance he gets. He's not the nicest of people.
Am I not doing well? Is that why I'm now asking?
No, you're well off. But you gave Gregory mad money. You pay for all of the meals and.
I gave or I loaned.
Well, it was a loan. He always wanted to borrow. He said he'd pay you back, and he never did.
Without terms or conditions. No.
This is all verbal agreements. And then he did the thing too, where you'd sit at the table and the bill would come, and he'd just look in his pockets. He'd be like, "Oh," he'd make a face. He'd throw up his hands, and you'd just say, "Forget about it."
This is a very sad sitcom.
Yeah, it's great. It's crazy. This is what this guy did. He says he forgets his wallet. It's so hard to remember to bring it.
Okay.
This is your cousin, remember?
I wouldn't say that. Listen, relationships are relationships outside of blood. I would say I wouldn't necessarily stop spending time with Gregory unless by him keeping his money and not paying me back was going to create a sense of me feeling resentful or disturbed by the fact that he doesn't want to pay me back. Because really, if someone keeps saying I got you, they most likely don't got you. And so you need to come to terms with the fact that if you're giving the money away, that you shouldn't really expect it to get it back from someone like this person. So if you now all of a sudden think that he should give it, then you might be beep out of luck. So My thing would say keep spending time with him. Stop giving your money because obviously you maybe don't want to depart with your money.
Well, but it's a hard situation when you're both at the table and the bill comes.
Stop eating together.
Oh, okay, so you do have to spend less time eating with
No,
him.
you can spend as much time with him. Just stop eating and spending money together.
Oh, all right, so stop
money.
spending money then when you're around him.
Yes.
Okay, that's a...
Go to the park.
Okay.
Exercise for free.
All right, so you're going to just spend
time
your time
with God.
differently.
Yep. Excellent.
I don't know what that has to do with Gregory, but okay then. Scenario 2. Natalie seems really nice. You've only known her for 3 months, but feel like she is someone who has your back. She stood up for you when others tried to belittle you. She has also taught you some tubular surfing moves, which makes you feel like a pro surfer. You've also heard some not so nice things from a couple of friends about Natalie backstabbing people in the past. What should you do with this newfound information?
Haters are gonna hate. I think that, Natalie, people, someone just recently told me that people show you who they are by pretty much telling you who they are, and you have to listen, right? And that's, I think, loosely formed from a quote by the late and great Maya Angelou. And I think that you need to develop your relationship with I would need to continue my relationship with Natalie and see for myself what are her trustworthy and untrustworthy characteristics. You can't make a decision based on hearsay or rumors of other people because, now that you've heard this information, I mean, really, you could actually create a situation now where now you're like, oh, here you go, chick, because you've now put it into your universe and you're like, oh, maybe she's really not trustworthy. I think you should just ignore it. Look at the facts. Look at the time you spend with her. Is she trustworthy? Is she not? So I would say I would stop speaking to people who keep gossiping. That's my response.
Even if they were your friends who told you.
Virgos are harsh, man.
Wow.
I mean, again, what is there? The lawyer in me would say, well, let's look at the facts. What's your information? What's your source? What was the situation about? Because maybe she acted that way for XYZ reasons, right? Like you have to find out the full story. But either way.
So how do you find out the full story? Do you go to Natalie and say, hey, Natalie, I heard some stuff?
She knows you're now then been gossiping behind her. So now she might stop talking to you because it's kind of right? Like,
wow. Now you lose out on that friendship just for asking.
People can be very petty,
look,
though.
You weren't gossiping. Your friends told you that. It wasn't. You didn't bring her. You were just talking, and then your friends brought that up. So she's taking that out on you as a gossip thing. That's
Have you heard the phrase "people shoot the messenger"?
Oh, is it like 300? You get kicked down into the pit?
Right into the pit.
This is Sparta?
Yeah!
It's like that. Wow.
I feel that that's a possibility. Because I've been there. I've been in that situation where I've said, hey, boo, this person was said, and then they look at you side-eyed, and they're like, oh, I see what you're about. And you're like...
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so...
People love to kill the messenger.
Yeah, you gotta take the information from your friends and then just continue to assess.
So you can hire a private detective then.
It's like Natalie that? Around. Are you marrying Natalie?
But she's been so cool to you. You want to make sure she's really cool and will always have your back.
It's not that serious.
It was. I mean, she's defended you, so don't you want to make sure she's true?
I guess this must be Sparta.
Maybe you can get like a private detective on Fiverr or something. Like $5 and they'll follow her around for 5 days or something. I don't know how that works. Maybe it's possible you can get a discount, or maybe go to Groupon, right? Groupon. Get a nice deal on that.
Moving on.
Scenario 3. Henrietta is a decent web developer who just married a person with a trendy laundromat. It has its own app, social media accounts, and even a web page. While perusing the new app for bugs, she found out with the right login credentials, the app led to some web page on the darknet that looked like some kind of money exchange. After some digging, she was able to conclude her spouse's laundromat business is really being used to launder money for anonymous organizations. What is the newlywed to do with this information uncovered?
Did you watch Sopranos before writing this?
This probably would more tie into like a little Breaking Bad maybe mixed with Sopranos.
Okay.
A little
Interesting. Interesting. So this is now her husband that she's discovered this information, or I'm Henrietta and I've discovered this about my spouse. Okay.
If you put yourself in Henrietta's shoes.
And obviously she didn't do enough digging while she was dating this person before getting married. Does she have accounts on any of this information? Like, is she
accounts?
Like, is she legally tied to the laundromat or any of that stuff?
No, she's not legally tied to
it. Just that's out of just curiosity. I mean, does she feel safe confronting him about this, or does she feel like she might get, cleaned? Like,
yeah, this guy just seems like a normal entrepreneur.
He won't cut her up and eat her, or serve her to
doesn't seem like that.
or something. Okay.
He says it puts the lotion on his skin sometimes, but that's about it.
God help you. So she won't die. Then I won't die. I would confront my.
Well, you assume you won't die. You have a level of trust that you. Live.
Definitely have your will and everything in order.
So first, get your will in order. Say, hey, husband, let's get
your separate will done.
Oh, okay.
And make sure your accounts are, going where they need to go. And that, also that there's someone in your corner that knows that you're going to be confronting your husband about a very sensitive matter. So if you go missing, that people know that there was this transaction that happened before you went missing.
And hopefully your husband's not tapping your phone, because then he hears
have lunch.
And then he knows.
In another state. In a club with music banging.
Oh, okay.
That people can...
Well, yeah, you can make it really tough, yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be face to face, yeah.
Yeah, face to face, no texting, none of that stuff. And confront your husband, and hopefully he can explain himself, and you don't have to, snitch on him and send him to the feds. But most likely you will. So it sucks to be you, hubby.
But it's a laundromat. He's cleaning clothes. He's cleaning money. I mean, what's wrong with that?
Any problem with being a criminal? That's what's wrong with that scenario.
But he likes to clean stuff. I mean, I don't know. This guy's a cleaner. Just let him clean.
Moving on. Oh, man. It is that time again. I don't know about you,
it is.
But that was quite a disturbing scenario round. And I can't wait for next week's scenarios. And what was this week? We are at the end of our 23rd episode of Woke and Free. Woohoo! And it was quite the episode. And just to recap, amongst all the laughter, we were talking all about how when you can trust someone, and also dealing with the aftermath of when you kind of do get burned from other people who are not so trustworthy. Now, will I leave you hanging for what our next episode is all about?
On our next episode, we will be discussing immigration and what is going on in this country, the good old US of A, for all those listeners that aren't from the US of A, or as they like to say in Canada and in Europe, the States. Make sure you follow us on social media to follow along in the conversation, and make sure you tune in next week for WokeNFree Wednesday to join the conversation at WokeNFree.com.
If you want to be a guest on our show, which I know you do, make sure you submit a topic for an upcoming episode and share how you feel and why you think we should talk about something and why you're the right person to join us for this conversation. How do you do it? You go to WokeNFree.com and you contact us on our Contact Us page. Now, I've said it earlier, and I'm happy to say it again. We are very, 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 very social on social media. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at WokeNFree.
If you didn't already subscribe, please do. Share the episode, and make sure you come back to join the conversation every Wednesday for WokeNFree Wednesdays. Until next time.